What up, though? Ty Mopkins here. We're still on location here at the Detroit Pistons 3520 exhibit here at the Detroit Historical Museum. Bringing you another episode of 3520, a Detroit Piston podcast celebrating two historic eras in our basketball franchise, the 1989 Bad Boys and the 2004 Going to Work Detroit Pistons. Today's guest is a Detroit native and a member of the 1989 Bad Boys team. And basketball really does run in his blood as we get into this in-depth conversation with John Long. 3520, let's go.
Hangs out of the ball, flips it up to the rafters. Detroit is the city of champions again.
What up, dog? Welcome back to 3520, a Detroit Piston podcast celebrating two iconic Detroit Piston franchises, the 89 Bad Boys and the 2004 Going to Work Pistons. Speaking of the 89 Bad Boys, my special guest today is a Michigander, born and raised in the great city of Romulus, Michigan, none other than 1989 NBA champion, Mr. John Long. How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, thanks for being here, man. This is an honor, man, because as a kid growing up in inner city Detroit, you were one of my idols when it came to basketball. And I want to touch a little bit on your journey, but I'm going to let you talk about something, right? When we first bring guests on, first thing we ask them is this, right? When did it all start for you? I know you was born and raised in Romulus, but when did it all start for you basketball-wise?
Man, it started when I was like 8 years old.
Okay.
And my oldest brother, Nate, he was my mentor. I come from a family of 10, 6 boys, 4 girls. And he played basketball as well. He went up to Eastern Michigan with George Iceman Gerber, and he played a year with him. So from the time I was able, from 7 to 8 years old, I wasn't strong enough to shoot the ball over my head, so I used to always shoot underhand. And I always just get it blocked all the time.
Right.
And you remember Rick Barry used to always shoot free throws like that. So as I got older, I figured it out because my brother used to beat me up all the time. And so I had to figure out ways to score. And by him being so much taller than me and so much more physical than me, I had to figure it out. And once I figured it out, he was like, "You finally arrived.
Okay.
I can't do nothing with you no more."
And how old was you then?
I was 8.
8, okay. And did you play Little League basketball?
No, back then, we didn't have a whole lot of places where you could play rec ball and stuff there. But coming up, we always had summer league basketball. Played down at St. Cecilia. We had Romulus leagues where Mary Wright, Catholic Central, and all those teams used to come out. So we used to always have summer league games where we had a chance to really improve and work on our skills. And back then, everybody in the neighborhood helped you. You got beat up by all the older guys. They saw you had potential, and they kept you on the right path. And that's the one thing I really admired about growing up. You always had people looking out for you.
Mm-hmm. And then you started high school, Romulus High School.
Yes.
Tell me about those years.
Well, it's funny because my brother was a senior. I was a freshman.
Okay.
I was on the reserve team. Our reserve team was undefeated. I scored 56 points on the reserve team as a freshman. Middle part of the season, they wanted to move me up to varsity.
Okay.
And I'm like, move me up to varsity? I'm like, what do I want to go up to varsity for? I'm like, I got a good team right here on the reserve team with all my teammates.
Mm-hmm.
We winning. We used to scrimmage against the varsity team all the time and hold our own. And so I'm like, I don't want to play varsity. And at the time, it really hadn't sunk in that, I was pretty good.
Right.
And so one day we were sleeping that night, we were in the bed, and my brother said, "Do you realize what an honor it is to be able to play varsity as a freshman?"
Mm-hmm.
I say, "But I don't want to do that." He said, "You'd be able to play with your big brother." So the next day I go to school. And so the coach come up to me, his name was Dave Court.
Okay.
He said, "John, I want you to play on the varsity." I said, "No, I'm not playing on the varsity. I'm playing on the reserve." He said, "Well, I'll tell you what." He said, "If you don't play varsity, you're not playing no more basketball." I said, "You can't do that." He said, "Yes, I can. I'm the coach." He said, "You know what an honor it is to move up to varsity?"
Yeah.
So finally I went up to varsity. My first game in a tournament against Ann Arbor Pioneer, they had Bob Elliott, who went to Arizona, and he played with the New Jersey Nets.
Mm-hmm.
I had 20 points that game. And my brother said, "You didn't want to come up."
I was just about to say that. I was like, and you didn't want to come up. I was just about to say that. So you started all 4 years.
I started all 4 years.
What is your most memorable high school game?
The Twin Valley League, where it was 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 and Romulus, the 𝗙𝗢𝗟 had some really good teams back in the day. Lofton Green was the high school coach. And for them to be a Class B team, they were really good. They used to play against all the Class A teams and beat them. And so playing against 𝗙𝗢𝗟 and 𝗍 back in the day was such a great honor because they had such really good teams.
Yeah. Okay. So how was the college recruiting era for you?
It was good. Like I said, I got a lot of scouts coming to my school, but I committed to UD.
Okay.
And Vitale, he was like a father figure to me. I mean, it was like a second father. I could really tell he cared about the players. And that's one of the things that, I was really concerned about. Was it a good fit for me? And I also wanted to be close to home for my family because my mom and dad, sisters and brothers, they followed me my whole career from high school to college to the pro. And so instead of going away, I could have went away to school, but I wanted to stay close to home so my family would have an easy commute to come and watch me play. And it worked out fine.
So was Vitale as animated in person as he was on the court and on television?
Absolutely. We used to practice at 3:30, and we'd be in the gym from 3:15 to like almost 3:30, messing around, shooting around. All of a sudden, the door just flies open, and he busts through the door with this serious look, and that means you had to get serious about everything that you're doing because he only had one eye.
Yeah.
But he could see everything, and he come in screaming and hollering, and he was so emotional. We practiced for 3.5 hours, 4 hours, every day.
How's you guys' relationship now? Because I know lately he has been battling some challenges, and it seems like he was that coach that cared about players after. How's your relationship with him now?
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. We still talk quite a bit. My college teammates, we still talk quite a bit. We have all these conference calls where we're talking and we stay in touch with one another. All the coaches, Mike Brunker, Vitale, we still talk. And, that's the thing about building a bond and a relationship when you're in college. It never ends. I mean, it just seems like it gets stronger because those are the people that touch your life when you was trying to make something out of yourself. And those are the ones that gave you confidence and believed in you and gave you opportunity to be successful. And I thank him a lot for that because, we still talk today and we talk about all the good times and, we just smile because those are the people that know you the best. When you come from high school to college to the pro and you've been there, all those people know you from the time that you didn't have anything. So it's very special.
So who was the runner-up? You chose UD. Who was the runner-up? Who almost had you?
University of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, because they had Oscar Robertson. He was there and, he was helping recruit and stuff. And I was that close until Vitale came to Romulus. And every single day he came to my house. And I'm like, I can't get rid of this guy. So finally, I committed because all the stuff that he was sharing with me and he was sharing with my mom and dad, it seemed like a really good fit. And like I said, I wanted to be close to home. So it worked out for the best.
Oh, yeah, it did. And we loved you for it. And that's when a lot of us got really familiar with you. We knew about you during your high school days, but that also bridged the gap where some of the kids from Detroit, Romulus, Inks, and all that, it surprises a lot because you chose the University of Detroit instead of going out of state. And a lot of people don't realize that the University of Detroit is a Division I college.
It is, and we didn't get that much recognition back in the day. And that's one of the things that Vitale said to us. He said, look, I'm going after 6 local guys. He said, because if I can get you guys, everybody know who you guys are.
Yes.
If I can get you guys to join the guys that I already have at the University of Detroit, we can turn this into something real special. And, coming in with Terry Tyler, Toronto Anderson, and Kevin Cassetta, and Dave Grouse and all them, we were pretty good here in the state of Michigan. And all of a sudden, the way Vitale promoted the University of Detroit and got people to come out to the Midnight Madness all that, everything just took off. And, to be able to play for the University of Detroit and get the national exposure playing against the University of Michigan in the NCAA tournament, and then we lose one game away from, going to the Final Four, it was kind of special.
Yeah, because I was going to bring that up as well, too, because you guys actually made it to the Sweet 16. And I think you guys were during that era, the first true Cinderella team? Because you guys came out of nowhere, came from a college on 6 Mile in Illinois, and took the national stage by storm. Had a an animated coach. You guys had all of the making for a Cinderella story. So I tell people all the time when they say, "Oh, this is a Cinderella team," I said, "Well, my first Cinderella team was the University of Detroit Titans." What was that whole NCAA tournament run like for you guys?
It was real special. You know, we had so much support. And back then, Mark the Bird Fidrich played for the Tigers, Ron LaFleur. They were so close to Vitale. They was at the University of Detroit every single day. They went on the road with us. When we played Marquette in Milwaukee, they came there for support. And it was just so much excitement and so many people was on the bandwagon with us getting in a tournament. It was just, the city was just lit up. I can remember when Bob Lanier came down to one of the practices, and he said, "We all watching you guys, and we all, want you guys to go real far." And so that was a special moment where, you had the whole cities looking at you and wanted you to go to the next level, and we did that. We just couldn't bring home the trophy.
No, but you brought home more than just a trophy. You brought home a community and a state that gathered around, like I said, a school on 6 Mile in Illinois, and that place was rocking every home game. And that's when I first heard the term Titan territory.
There you go.
And even to this day, when you walk in there, you just feel the nostalgia of the guys, of what you and everyone else put down in the history of that UAD team. So you go into the UAD Mercy Hall of Fame. What was that experience like for you?
Very special because, coming up, like I said, grew up out in Romulus.
Yes.
Family of 10. Your expectations, you want to succeed in life and you want to do something special, but you don't realize all the stuff you accomplish and what you accomplish in coming up because you're just playing the sport because you love it. And at the end of your career, you look at all the stuff you accomplished, you're like, man, I did all of that. Because you're not aware of that, because you're playing the game because you love it, and you're competing at a high level, and the talent back then was so good.
Yes.
I mean, you had to get better because there was no place for you to go down because everybody played physical, everybody had a game, and you had to show people that you belong. And we did that.
What was your most memorable college game?
Playing against Marquette. We had 21-game winning streak going into Marquette. Dennis Boyd hit the winning jump shot at the buzzer. To take us over the top, we go 22-0. We go to Duquesne. Norm Nixon is there. They break our 22-game winning streak in a double overtime loss. That was very special when we beat Marquette because it was so hard for us to beat them because they had Bo Ellis, Jerome Whitehead, Butch Lee, Earl Tatum, and all those guys. They had a really good team. And we finally got over the hump when we beat them, and that was something special for the University of Detroit when we beat them at the buzzer.
We talked about Vitale, Dick Vitale, right? And it seemed like you couldn't shake this guy for nothing. It was like you, him, you were joining that thing up. Because the reason why I say that, because now the NBA journey starts for you. You get drafted by the Pistons. And who was the coach?
Dick Vitale.
So how was that like?
Terry Tyler and myself, like I said, all my teammates, we still talk quite a bit. And we got drafted, and he said, I'm getting a lot of heat from drafting you two guys because you were my players. And they didn't feel like Tyler and myself belonged. And, we looking at that like that's a slap in the face.
It is.
Because here we are, Division I school, where we just lost to Michigan in the NCAA tournament. We still didn't get the recognition that we deserve. Now we get ready to get drafted. Now they say we don't belong. So, I've been dealing with adversity all my life. So, I look at that like, okay, just another stepping stone to show people that I belong. They don't believe I belong, so now I got to show them I belong. So Vitale, we came there. He used to get on us in practice. We had training camp. every single day, all you could hear is John Terry, screaming and hollering at us to the top of his voice. Because he couldn't scream and holler at Bob Lanier and Kevin Porter and Chris Ford and all those guys. So he took it out on us. So we knew that because we dealt with this when we were in college. But he told us, he said, look, I'm under a lot of pressure for drafting you guys. He said, all I want you guys to do is go out and play and show everybody what you're capable of. And that's what we did. You know, we went out and played against the Chicago Bulls. We had a game at the Callahan Hall. That was our debut. Dick Vitale, Terry Tyler, and myself coming back to the University of Detroit, Callahan Hall, to play an exhibition game against the Chicago Bulls. Had Scott May, had all those guys, Reggie Theus. I come out, scored 28 points that game. Dick comes in the locker room screaming and hollering, you just made the damn team. I told everybody you could play. You just solved all my problems.
Yeah.
He said, you made the team. And Tyler and myself, we had the biggest smile on our face because we knew we belonged. But, you know, coming from a small college right in the inner city, people didn't respect us like that. But we got the national exposure. But when we went to the next level, we showed everybody that we belonged.
And at the end of the day, John, that was your house. So if anybody knew the way the rims is and how the floor squeaks and more bounces,
there you go.
It was definitely set up for you. So that leads me to my next question. And I ask everybody this question because it's a full circle moment in life, whether you're a basketball player or whether you career, whatever it is. When did you have that first full circle moment like, wow, I'm really in the NBA? I come from Romulus, Michigan. I went to the University of Detroit, and now I'm playing in the National Basketball Association.
It was like my first 4 games.
Okay.
And my first 4 games was really a wake-up call. Now, my first 4 games as a rookie. First game, Walt Frazier. Second game, Pistol Pete Maravich. Third game, George Iceman Gervin. Fourth game, David Thompson. The hits just kept coming. Right then and there, I knew I belonged because I held my own against four of the greatest players that ever played in the NBA. I held my own. And that made me feel good because, you know, I had all kind of butterflies before the game, but once the game started, you know, all that went away. And then right after the game, Pistol Pete comes up to me and say, young fella, great game. You're going to be pretty good. And that just made my day. I say, Pistol Pete just said that to me? I'm like, okay, I got to keep working on my game.
So you spent 8 years, your first 8 years you spent here with the Pistons.
Yes.
What would you say, just like with high school and college, what was your most memorable Piston game?
Well, we won the championship. I mean, because that's bragging rights. You know, you can play the game for years. If you don't win a championship, you still get all the recognition, but it's nothing like winning the championship. When you win the championship, people know you forever because they remember champions. And winning that first championship was so special because I can remember my first rookie year as a Piston, we only won 16 ball games.
Yeah.
So I knew what it was to be on a team where you didn't win. And then when you got to that level where you actually won, and then took it to the level where you got to the playoffs and then won a championship, tip of the iceberg.
And that was pretty much of a redemption validation for you because you did spend time with the Pacers. What was that experience like for you?
It was great.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, I had some great teammates. My year there, I mentored Reggie Miller. I mentored Joe Dumars. And so to have those guys come back and say to me, I was a big part of their success, that made me feel good because I helped mentor those guys and showed them the way, just like Bob Lanier and Kevin Porter and all those guys showed me the way when I was a rookie.
We see what LeBron is doing right now, right? And people are always talking about his age. But you played up until you was 41 years old, and that was the second oldest to do it during that era. What were you doing to keep your body conditioned the right way where you can keep going after 40?
You know, one thing I always knew I had the ability and talent to do anything I wanted to do.
Right.
But you can have ability and you can have talent, but if you're not in shape, you can't really exploit that talent the way you're capable of exploiting that talent when you're in shape. And so I knew that I had all the ability in the world, but one of my advantages was to always go into games and training camp in shape. Because when you're in shape, you don't allow yourself to be injury prone. When you go to training camp and you're not in full condition, you're prone to get hurt. And I've been blessed all my career where I never had any serious injuries because I always took care of myself.
Okay.
Now, when I came back at 40, I was on tour with Magic Johnson. And we was touring all over Europe, and we were playing against all the national teams, getting them ready for the Olympics. And so we traveled all over Europe for 4.5 years. We were 73-0. We were undefeated. And on that All-Star team, Kareem went the first year, Bob McAdoo, you had Lester Connor, Mark Aguirre, you had Mike McGee, you had all these guys on the traveling All-Star team. I came back in 96 after we came back from Argentina. Isaiah gives me a call. He's the general manager, part owner of the Toronto Raptors. He said, "Steady, I know you just came back off a tour with Magic." He said, "I got a problem." He said, "I got a young high school guy, Tracy McGrady, straight out of high school, that I need somebody here that I know can help mentor him, and I know he'll be okay." He said, "So I want to bring you back at 40 to play for the Raptors and mentor Tracy McGrady." Now, during this time, I'm on a conference call, the three of us, Magic, Isaiah, and myself. We just come back from Argentina. We're getting ready to go to Africa to meet Nelson Mandela. By me coming back, I don't get opportunity to go to Africa to meet Nelson Mandela because we're going on tour. Magic said, "John, you know, we can always take another trip to Africa." He said, "They're ready to bring you back at 40. He said, "Go ahead and go on back." I go back. Isaiah brings me. I play in the first game against the Washington Wizards. They had Rasheed, Chris Webber, and Ben Wallace. Now, they drew up a play. The game tied up. I'm in the game. They draw up a play. Darrell Walker is the coach. Damon Stoudemire, Marcus Camby, Doug Christie, all these guys on the team as young men. So Darrell Walker draws up a play. Damon Stoudemire comes off a screen. He says, "They're going to double team you, kick the ball to Doug. Doug's going to be open." I tell Doug Christie, "Doug, now, when Damon reversed the ball to you, they coming to double you right away. They coming right at you. Soon as they swing the ball to Doug, they run right at him. I'm over in the corner. He kicks it to me. Chris Webber standing in the paint. He looks at me. He don't come out to challenge my shot. They asked him after the game, "Why you didn't go out and challenge John Long? 40 years old, he just came back, and you let him shoot a wide open jumper." He said, "Because I knew John Long, when he got that ball right there, I knew that was true. That's why I didn't run out there." He said, "I've been watching that guy play all my life." He said, "That's why I didn't run out there." I hit the winning shot. And from that point on, Damon Stoudemire used to always call me long balls. He said, "You got a lot of nerve coming in here and hitting the winning shot, and you just got here."
So you stated when Isaiah called you, he called you Steady.
Yeah, that's what it was. My middle name is Eddie. They always used to call me Steady Eddie because I was so consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So other than that, what other nicknames did you have growing up? Basketball nicknames.
My nickname was BB coming up when I was at Romulus High School and I was growing up. And it's so funny because when I turned pro, and everybody used to come down to the Silverdome from Romulus, and they wanted me to know that they was there. They didn't say John Long, they BB. So when they say that, I'm going to turn around right away because only people that know that name,
they know you.
That grew up with me.
Yeah, they know you know you.
Yeah.
So I know you just talked about Magic and his traveling team. Tell me about those great games at the Saints. Because we hear about the Rucker, we hear about all of the other courts. And I almost get into fights about these things, John, where I stick up. I was like, listen, I hear you about the Rucker. I hear you about all these other parks and all that stuff, but you ain't really played basketball unless you played at the Saints. What was some of your experiences like in the Saints?
It was great. And, you know, when you say the Rucker and all that, I played with Dennis Boyd, Ron Bostic, Walter Smith, Wilbur Ross, all those guys from New York. So they used to always talk about the Rucker.
Oh, my God, yes.
Always talk about the Rucker. So growing up and playing down at St. Cecilia was great. The talent was unbelievable. There was so much talent that came through there, but it was a sweat box. When you come from the time you step in that gym, from the time you step in there, sweat just pouring off of you. And you know you're getting ready to play some serious basketball in that hot gym. And I can remember our Romulus team used to always come down. Sam Washington ran St. Cecilia.
Yes.
And Getty. Getty used to always wear red socks. He'd be sitting there taking all the money when you come in. And Sam Washington and Getty used to always say, here come them Romulus boys. Y'all don't know nothing about them Romulus boys, but y'all gonna know about that John Long in a minute because he's pretty good. And so that's where I made my debut. We used to always go down to St. Cecilia, and the games used to be jam-packed.
Okay, so now we come to the part of the segment. This is brought to you by Allegiance Air, right? So Allegiance Air want to know, what are the 3 most essential items that you take with you on the road that you got to have? 3 things that got to go in the bag when you travel.
Music.
Okay.
All my CDs.
Okay.
I got to make sure I have all my toothbrush, all my accessories and stuff that I need, because you always forget something when you're traveling on the road. I don't care. You think you prepare for everything, but you're always going to leave something. But I always made sure that I had my toothbrush. I always made sure I had clean clothes, because my mom used to always say when we was coming up, always take a shower, always keep clean clothes on, because you never know when you might have an accident. Anything can happen. You don't want nobody messing with you when you got dirty stuff on. They ain't going to mess with you. So I always kept that in the back of my mind.
Yes. So you said music, right? What was your go-to music that you listened to before a game?
I used to always listen to jazz.
Okay.
And back then, I mean, my favorites was always Norman Connors, Phyllis Hyman, George Benson. So that was my mental relaxing, where I got into relaxing and preparing myself for the game. So sitting in my stall.
So that helps you slow the game down a little bit.
Yeah, just mentally, just relaxing.
So that's where steady came from then, huh?
Yeah, you just don't want to all of a sudden you listen to your music, all kind of music you listen to, but at some point in time, you just want to mentally relax your mind and get locked in. And then, of course, you know, when you listen to that, Isaiah used to always come in and turn up Prince real loud. So, you know, you could try to listen to your music, and he got Prince in the locker room just blasting. Because that was one of his favorite artists.
Yeah, I can see that with Z. I can see him, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Mike. So 2016, right? You enter another Hall of Fame. You enter the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. What was that like for you, too? Because you played basketball at Romulus, went to UAD, got inducted to the UAD Hall of Fame, but now this is the end of it, and it's at the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. What was that like for you?
All of it was very humbling and special because, like I said, when you play the game because you love the game and you're a competitor. You don't know you're going to accomplish all this stuff and all these accolades afterwards, but it's very special when you realize that you did so much and people recognize what you did. That's the thing that makes me feel good, because now that I'm retired and I can go to a lot of different places, and when I see people and see fans that watch me play, they always say, you know, I really enjoyed your career. You were a pretty good player, and, you know, thanks for the memories. We had a thing last night for the season ticket holders at the Motor City Casino, and all the season ticket holders was telling me that it was good seeing you. We enjoyed your career. You had some great memories that we really appreciate, you know, watching you play. That makes you feel good, because, like I said, I played the game because I loved the game, and I loved to compete, not knowing that I was going to accomplish all the stuff that I accomplished. Now my grandkids, my kids, you know, they see all of this, and that's what my grandkids and stuff are going through now. You know, they know me as Papa. But, you know, when they go out with me and everybody's, John and this and that and other, they'd be like, now they starting to understand, okay, this is my granddad.
Yes.
They just look at me as Papa, but
Right.
now they see all the stuff I accomplished and how people come up to me. They dealing with that now. Just like when they go to school. Oh, John Long's not your grandfather. Oh, that's my granddad. Now when I go to the games, they like, oh, that is your granddad.
Right.
Oh, we just family.
Right.
But fans look at that stuff different. When they see you and they don't see you quite a bit, and when they do see you, like, oh, that's John Long.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing? I took pictures last night when I was at the Motor City Casino. I went in a restaurant. One of the guy, he couldn't even wash his hands. He was steady looking at me. I'm turning around like, what? You're like, John Long? I said, that's me. He said, man, you look good. How you doing?
Yeah.
I acknowledge him, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, because you still look like you can give us 30 out there.
Well, that's what Kevin was saying. I had the knee replacement. No, I can stand still and shoot. All that run up and down, stopping and going, them days over.
John, do you see the contracts they're giving you?
I understand that,
You
but
can give me 30.
do you realize the recovery time?
I know.
That's what I'm looking at.
So you say the grandkids call you Pawpaw, right?
Yes.
So they don't know about BB. They don't know about Steady. But speaking about family, right? You have two nephews that followed in your footsteps and played in the NBA too, with Grant Long and Terry Mills. Watching them, how did it feel as the big unc, to watch them complete a journey as well too in the NBA?
Well, it's very special because they used to be with me all the time.
Okay.
They used to go to all my basketball camps.
Okay.
They used to be at my house all the time. And so to see them achieve what they achieved, I was very happy for them because I knew why they wanted to do it. They followed in my footsteps. And that's one of the things that I always told them, you control your own destiny. I paved the way for you guys.
Right.
All you got to do is do your part, play ball the right way. You get opportunity to be successful in life, and that's what they did.
Yeah, because and just sidebar, I don't think nobody represents the city of Romulus more than Grant. Every time he has a chance, he say, good morning, Romulus, good night, Romulus, when he ends broadcast and all that. And the one ironic thing about this, John, is that each one of you played for the Pistons.
Yes.
So you guys had a full circle moment coming back here.
Huh?
Lastly, as we close out, I ask these questions to former players for their contribution. So if we had a chest and we open it up, because this is the 35th year for you guys winning the 89 championship, and what would you want to put in this chest where we open it back up in another 35 years for the 70th anniversary? What would John Long put in this chest, so when we open it up, we automatically know it's him, and this was his contribution to basketball and the 89 Pistons?
I would say my jerseys and opening up a trunk with all your shorts and stuff in there, because back in the day, we called what we wore hot pants.
Yeah.
Because the ladies used to always tell us, we used to love coming to the games and watch you guys play, because you didn't have no wiggle room to bend over, because, our chauffeur's already up here. Now look at the shorts today. They down to your knees. And so I'm laughing because you bring this up. I just opened up a box of mine that I have at home, and all my stuff that I had when I played with the Pistons, all too little now.
Right.
And that's what I mean by all the stuff being short. So now I'm giving all this stuff to my grandkids.
So do you still have a lot of your old UAD memorabilia?
Yes, I do.
I
have my jerseys. I have my warm-ups. I have all that stuff.
Because those uniforms and warm-ups were some of the best in college history, even professional.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, this was a complete honor to finally sit down and talk to you. Like I said, I've been watching you since I was a kid, and I followed you every move. And I appreciate you for always sticking true to the city of Detroit and the city of Romulus, but always calling this place home no matter where you went. So I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And you are one of our treasures, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And my mom used to always say, don't never forget where you come from.
Amen.
You can always leave home, and you can always accomplish things in life, but don't never forget where you came from. And I never did.
Amen. Thank you. And that concludes this episode of 3520. We'd like to thank John Long for joining us and giving us a brief history of his tour during the NBA and just growing up in the city of Detroit and Romulus, Michigan. 3520 is a Detroit Pistons podcast available on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and wherever you download and listen to your favorite podcasts. Check us out for the next episode of 3520. Peace.